Hey guys, I'm Jeremy Enfinger. I'm with Ruth Steakhouse. Today we're going to be making a seared grouper with a Creole Hollandaise topping. We're going to pair it up with a broiled tomato and roasted fingerling potatoes for our fantastic dish for Jackson Restaurant Week 2011. Alright guys, today we've got 4 different things we're going to make. First, we're going to start off with our Creole topping. Second, we're going to sear our fish, our grouper, and get it going in the oven. Thirdly, we're going to make our sides. We're going to broil our tomatoes and we're going to roast our fingerling potatoes. Last of all, I'm going to teach you how to make hollandaise in a blender. Alright, to start our Creole topping, we're going to make 2 different parts. We're going to do all of our vegetables together, and then we're going to do our proteins together. There's a couple of different things we have here. We have some smoked sausage. We have fresh sage. We've got a red bell pepper, green bell pepper, red onion, and some green onions. That's what's going in our... Oh, we also have crawfish. Can't be crawfish. That's going in our Creole topping. We're going to start with our proteins. We're going to take our sausage. We're going to cut it in half. Then we're going to slice it. A lot of people are worried about symmetry and making things look clean and fresh cuts. This we're going to kind of make kind of random, kind of chop it, just a little rough chop. Alright. We're going to set that aside. We're going to leave our crawfish tails whole. Okay. We're going to pick our sage off of the stem. We're going to make a portion of it for 2 people. So we're going to use about 6 leaves. Pull those off. Okay. Then we'll stack them up. Herbs are a funny thing. You don't want to cut them too much or you'll lose the oil. The oil in the herb leaves are what give you the flavor. So the less actual strokes you take on the leaf, the better they're going to be. So we're going to cut it in half. Then we're going to turn it sideways and just do a real fine chop. Just like that. Alright. Very few cuts, nice and green. We'll leave all that oil to come out while we're cooking. We're going to put that with our sausage. I've got some a little finer chop there. We're going to cook that together. Alright. So the next thing we've got is our vegetables. So that's one aspect of our dish, our crawfish, our sausage, and our sage. Alright, the second part to our Creole stuffing, we have our protein set aside. We're going to do our vegetables. We're going to break down a bell pepper. Just going to take the top off there. We're going to pull out the center, just pop it out. Now bell peppers have white ribs on the inside. We don't want those in our dish, it's going to make it bitter. So we're just going to cut down in between the ribs and get our flesh that we want to use, pull it out. So we'll cut all those and we've got our little ribs left. That's going to be garbage. We're going to set that aside. We'll take these again. We're not looking for a fancy even cut. We're actually looking for something a little bit more rough. So we're going to take it and just kind of rough chop this. Now I'm only going to use half of this bell pepper. The other half I'm going to set aside and later on we'll make a little garbage salad. Just throw all of our little leftovers in there and have something fantastic to eat for lunch tomorrow. Alright, a little rough chop, got enough bell pepper, and I used the top so that didn't go to waste. We're going to break down our red now, same way. I love using fresh ingredients. Just the smell alone of just the fresh stuff is fantastic. Alright, we're going to set this aside. Remember, we're going to make a little garbage salad with that later. Red onion. Always comes with the nice little thin leaves on it. We're going to take our bottom off. We're going to cut it in half. And then we're going to peel the skin on the outside, or the leaves, or the outside layer of the onion. Okay? We're going to cut off the end. Now, we're just going to thinly slice our onion, lay it on the flat side of the table, and we're going to use about half. We'll set the other half in our garbage salad pot. Alright, now, a little rough chop on this sliced onion here. Alright, and we're ready to go to the pan. Alright, so we have our proteins chopped, we have our vegetables chopped, ready to go to our saute pans. I've got 2 because the things that we're going to cook take the vegetables take longer to cook than the sausage and the crawfish do, so we're going to cook them separately, and then we're going to add them back together. Alright? And I know that if you watch the Food Network, you've seen Guy Fieri, and he always tells you that oil's to cook with and butter's to flavor. So we're going to start off with a little bit of oil in our pans. Alright? Our pans are going to be really hot. They're going to start to smoke. We're going to turn them down just a hair. So we're on like a medium high, if you will. Our vegetables take longer, so we're going to start with those. We'll drop those in. Getting our other pans nice and hot. So we're going to take our sausage with our sage. And remember, I told you, you don't want to cut the sage too much because you want the oils to release in the pan. So we're going to cook them with our sausage to maximize the flavor out of the sage. Toss those around a bit. Alright, now we're going to reuse the pan that the vegetables are in to cook our fish in. So we're going to take all those flavors and then we're just going to stack them on top of our fish. So it's just going to get better and better and better. Now, if we get real close to your screen, scratch it, you can smell this stuff. I promise. Try it. Pretty cool. Smell-o-vision. Alright, so we're getting some nice color. It's time to add our butter. We're just going to put a touch of butter in here. Alright, after I add my butter, I'm going to add my crawfish. We want our vegetables to cook all the way down so they're nice and soft. It's not too much of a bite, but just a little bit of bite left in them. Now for our seasoning. You don't want to add it too early, but you don't want to add it too late either, especially if you're using blackening seasoning. You want to pull the smoke out of the paprika, and you want to get the heat out of the cayenne. So we're going to go ahead and put that into our sausage and our crawfish mixture up here, just a pinch, and let that cook in. While we continue to render that fat out of the sausage and let the oil come out of the sage. Everything's cooking real nice, looking good. We're going to go back to high. Finish it up strong. Alright, we've got some beautiful color. The butter's done its job. It's incorporated into the flavor. We're going to add our vegetables to our sausage and crawfish because we want to reuse this pan. There we go. And you have a beautiful mix. Now we're going to make it really pop. We're going to add some fresh green onions. Look at that. Our main protein today is going to be red grouper. Now, a lot of people have heard of black grouper, not so much red grouper. Red grouper is a little bit more of a sustainable fish. There's more out there, they're a little easier to catch, and they don't have to get as big because there's more of them. So it's a great alternative to something that's becoming almost an endangered species with the black grouper. Tastes just as good, cooks just as well. We're going to take it today, we're going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. We've got sea salt here. Ground black pepper, just a nice even season there. Turn it, you want to do both sides always. Alright. Now, we're going to put it in our pan. We've got a pan nice and hot. Again, we're going to start with oil. A lot of people are scared to cook fish in a saute pan because they're afraid it's going to stick. One of the keys to that is movement of the pan. The other thing is the heat. High heat in a pan will help the fish sear the outside and keep it from actually sticking. All right, we've got a nice hot pan. It's starting to smoke a little bit. It's got a little bit of oil in it. All right, so we're going to put our serving side down first. Now, as soon as I set it in the pan, remember I said movement is one of the keys to keeping it from sticking. So we're just going to jiggle the pan just a little bit back and forth until the protein on the outside of the fish sears nice and dark. All right, we've got a nice, beautiful brown color on the bottom side of our fish. Little fish spatula here, not sticking to our pan at all. We're just going to turn it over and add just a little bit more oil to our pan. Turn the heat off. Now, the beauty of a pan like this is that it can go into the oven. If you don't have a pan that can go into the oven, you can simply put it onto a sheet pan or a baking sheet, whatever you like. Just make sure you oil the sheet pan just a little bit. We're going to add our butter for flavor, right? Right onto the top. And we're going to squeeze the juice of half of a lemon onto our fish. And then this pan's going to go in the oven and bake. We've got two things to go with our broiled fish today and our Creole Hollandaise. We're going to use some fingerling potatoes. We're going to roast them. We're going to take a half of a tomato and we're going to broil it. Let's start with our tomato real quick. We're going to take the top off where it connects to the stem. Set that aside. We'll add that to our garbage salad later. And then we're going to cut out the bottom little portion right there with a paring knife. Just so we're not chewing on that, we can enjoy our entire tomato. Now, a tomato has fruit, if you will, with a solid ring around the outside. The secret to broiling tomato so it doesn't fall apart is to score it, but not to score the outside ring. So we're going to slide our knife across the inside of the tomato and make a score pattern, but we're not going to cut that outside ring. That way it'll broil, but it'll still hold up and look nice and pretty. And then we're going to take some sugar, sprinkle some sugar across the top. We're going to put that into the oven. We're going to put it on the same pan as our potatoes and it's all going to roast together. Our fingerling potatoes we'll take and we'll simply cut them in half, lengthwise, for a little bit of presentation later on. Very simple flavor on these because we want our Creole Hollandaise and our fish to stand out. We're going to simply toss them in salt and pepper and a little bit of olive oil. Throw them onto a roasting pan and roast them in the oven. Most everybody has a blender at home. Not everybody knows how to make hollandaise. Now, restaurant quality hollandaise is fairly easy to achieve using a blender. We're going to take 2 eggs. One we're going to do whole. Okay? And the other we're going to take the yolk only. Now, all you chefs out there know that you're not supposed to put whole eggs in hollandaise, but it makes it easier for these guys at home. So, the rest of the ingredients for hollandaise are lemon. We're going to take half of a lemon. The other half we used on our fish, so we're not wasting anything. We're going to squeeze that in there, fresh. Okay? We're going to take Worcestershire sauce, 3 little shakes of Worcestershire. There we are. Tabasco. Three shakes of Tabasco. And a pinch of salt. Alright, now we're going to put our lid on. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. You don't want eggs to go everywhere. And we're going to turn it on. So you can hear me. This will be enough sauce for 4 people, okay? Now we used 1 egg and 1 yolk of 1 egg. We've got hot butter, which is 1.5 cups. We use the other 1/2 cup on our fish and in our topping, so we're using 1 whole pound of butter for the entire dish. Now I'm going to turn it back on. I'm going to slowly pour the butter into the funnel of the eggs and mixture that's in here. As it closes up, you've got a perfect hollandaise. Quick, easy, and painless. Alright, we've done everything. We've made our Creole topping, we've made our Hollandaise in our blender, we've roasted our potatoes, we've roasted our broiled tomato, our fish is done, now we're ready to put it on a plate. First thing we're going to pull out is our fish, straight out of the oven here. We also need our tomatoes and our potatoes. Normally you want to start with your starches on the bottom. So we're going to take our roasted potatoes here. Put those down. Then we'll take our fish, beautiful piece of red grouper, put it on our potatoes there. Got this gorgeous broiled tomato. I'm going to set it just off to the side. That. Now, our Creole Hollandaise, or our Hollandaise sauce that we're going to add the Creole to, that we made in our blender. Fantastic. Drape it right over our fish. Just like that. Make sure you have enough sauce for the entire piece of fish there. We're going to top it with our Creole topping so we can see all these beautiful flavors and colors. Plenty of sausage and crawfish there. Magnificent. And then we've got a little bit of oil left over from roasting our peppers and onions, and we're going to garnish our plate with just a little bit of roasted pepper oil. There you have it. Broiled grouper, roasted fingerling potatoes, broiled tomato with Creole Hollandaise.